Welcome, passionate Pisces. My name's Rose Smith from absolutesoulsecrets.com, and I'm here to do your horoscope for January, a bit of a psychic reading, some tarot cards, and a psychic summary for the key themes for January 2020. And it's a really big time at the moment. It's a new month, in a new year, in a new decade. So there is a lot going on in the heavens at the moment. There's actually 6 eclipses this year in 2020, and you know, the effects of eclipses can last from several months up to 6 months, some people say. And so you can imagine with 6 eclipses in the one year just rolling over and over and over, there will be a lot of energy coming up that will sort of, you know, accumulate within us all for, you know, it's building up for release. It's building up to a sort of like a crescendo. So you sort of get over one thing and then will be another thing, and on it will go. But it is, you know, ultimately for our own good, so that we may become more authentically who we are. And we also have this other thing happening, and actually we start this month with the first eclipse on the 10th. And then we have this other thing happening, which is Saturn conjuncting Pluto. And this is in your 11th house. So this is all about your friends and connections and the groups, the community that you belong to. And it's also about your hopes and dreams. And there is a lot of activity. Now my chickens are starting. It's amazing. They've been quiet. And now I'm live streaming. The chooks are going right off. So there's basically, you've got the Sun, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto all in your 11th house, stirring things up. This could really be the year where you let go of some people so that new people can come into your life, new situations. Whatever doesn't serve you for your highest good anymore, you could say goodbye to. So as you can appreciate, with so much energy going on, and there's a lot of other things this year too, which I won't go into here, but they are on my website, so I'll leave the link in the description if you want to know more about the overview for the entire year. And even the chickens agree with me. So all right, so the 4th sees Mars going into your 10th house. Now, this is about motivation and energy in your career and reputation. You may decide that you want to go online and get a bit of a following for yourself, or on Instagram or here on YouTube or Facebook, wherever. And it could further your career. So you might be looking for another job that pays better, or something that really makes your heart sing or go bling. Your heart goes bling. So that'll give you the energy to do it. The 10th sees the first lunar eclipse of the year, and it's in your 5th house. Okay, this is about your creativity. It's also about entertainment and fun, leisure and pleasure. And it brings you close to the world of the child, the inner child. So you can feel those childlike impulses within you, where you may be feeling a bit more humorous, or you want to play practical jokes on people or things like that. If you had a child like my child, my inner child. Or you may have a lot more to do with children in the outside world too. You could attract children to you in some way. So if you do want to get pregnant this year, particularly this month, it's a good time. Okay, so it's also good to, I must mention, if you're looking for someone to meet somebody, it's also good for what I call young love, and that is when you just meet someone, you don't know them, but you feel a sort of a spark happening. You know, you could be having some flirtatious fun this month. And particularly with on the 13th, Venus is joining Neptune in your sign, dear passionate Pisces. This is beautiful because Venus is in love with the idea of love, and she loves beauty and cooperation and sharing and caring. And Neptune's a very spiritual energy that's already in your sign. So this is going to bring out it'll bring these elements out of you into the public more. People will start to see the beauty of your soul more than ever before. So that's really lovely, and they'll be attracted to it too, you know. 16th sees Mercury, 20th the Sun, and the 24th sees a new moon of new beginnings in your 12th house. The 12th house is a strange place. I call it the house of the goddess. It is your subconscious, basically, and it goes deep, deep down through your soul right to the level of divine. Okay, we all have that spark of divinity in each of us. So you're likely to get more subconscious messages than usual. You may be feeling particularly artistic or creative and seek to express those divine impulses through your art or your creativity. So keep a lookout on your dreams, write them all down in a journal, because those messages will be coming through. With the Sun there also, you're likely to understand the messages and get insight and awareness into what's going on, and then you have a new beginning coming out of your subconscious as well. This will put you on a new path in life in some way. It could be a hobby or a job or something new coming into your life. Now, I'll just close my eyes, Passionate Pisces, and see what I can see for you psychically for the month of January. There's a mirror in front of me, somebody holding a mirror. So there's going to be like circumstances where somebody's holding a mirror up to you and reflecting back to you part of your subconscious. So you may think that somebody is a fool, or, you know, XYZ, bleep, 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 whatever. You might be very happy with somebody, but is just a reflection of what's going on in your deep, 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 darkest shadow nature. The dark side of your subconscious, and it is hard to come to terms with, you know, when you see, for example, our politicians in Australia have lost the plot. Australia is burning like it's absolutely catastrophic here, and they're not doing much. Well, Prime Minister has flitted off to Hawaii for a holiday while the country burns. I get really upset about it because millions of animals are dying, and yet I see the mirror and I do know that deep down inside of me there is something that I have to come to terms with. There's something that doesn't care about the environment, even though in my mind and my heart I do. But I need to come to terms with that. But we've all got these hidden parts of our shadow side, and when you're upset with somebody else, that is a key indicator that there's something in you that you have to look at, and something in me I have to look at. Okay, and I will do it. They're showing me a ladder here, and it's like climbing up a ladder towards success. Okay, it's in a dark cave. It's not easy. I'm in this dark cave, this dark place, and then I'm just climbing up the ladder. I can see the light. So just keep going, because you'll get there in the end if you just keep going. Don't give up. Alrighty, let's have a little look now at the tarot, and here is the board. Now, I've already shuffled these up, Passionate Pisces, but I'll just give them a quick shuffle again now and see what we can come up with. Oh, and this one jumps out. Well, here you go. This is what I was just talking about. This is the Five of Swords. It's disappointment. Another person is lording it over you. Domination, control, things that seem so terribly unjust and terribly unfair. And as I was saying, we've all got this. This is not just you. We've all got this in some way. Somebody trying to control us. And the other side is also true. We may be trying to control somebody else. So look within yourself in the first week of January, because I'm going to pull a card for every week. The first week of January, is there any place in your life where you are literally lording it over somebody, telling someone what to do with their body, or what to do, you know, with their finances, or, you know, in their life somehow? and standing over. This is standover tactics. Okay, it's not a pretty thing, but it will give you freedom, passionate Pisces. As you explore this area of yourself, it's almost like a taboo. It's such a dark place. As you explore this area of yourself, and maybe write it down in a journal so it can vent, then as it vents, it loses power over you. So these are the fragmented parts of your subconscious that are outside your control. And, you know, this is a place where addiction might live, or, you know, unconscious things, sabotage, self-sabotage is another one. And so as you let these things vent and come out in a healthy, appropriate way, such as writing in a journal, or maybe having, you know, deep heart-to-heart, meaningful conversation with somebody that you can trust. That's really important. They must be a non-judgmental, compassionate person that understands. If you can't find anyone, you can always ring my network, absolutesoulsecrets.com, where you will not be judged. Okay, that's critical, so that you can allow this energy to transform into something better. Okay, alrighty, let's look in the second week. Passionate Pisces. I can't yet. I've got to finish with this. There's more coming through. Particularly if you're a woman and you're in a relationship where there's domestic violence, please seek help. Okay, I can't stress that strongly enough, because this character here is capable of terrible, heinous things against women. This is Five of Swords. Could be your own thoughts. You could be your own worst enemy, with your thoughts going over and over and over about how you're not worthy, how you don't deserve to be in a better situation, and just basically saying it's all your fault. That is not true. It is not all your fault. Okay, now I will move on to the second week of January 2020 for passionate Pisces. And we come up with Seven of Pentacles. This is very interesting. This could be a disappointment, particularly about finances, or finances are somehow keeping you in a restricted situation. Maybe you overspent somewhere, or at Christmas or in the holiday period, and there was a bit of a fantasy sort of thing happening that it was going to be all right, and now you have to wear it. So you can see a scenario here where these could possibly go together, where if you're in a sort of controlling relationship with somebody who's controlling your finances, and then here you've got this disappointment or this sort of problem with finances, because maybe you just don't have enough money. Maybe that's the bottom line. You don't have enough money when you're in this relationship. Okay, but that's up for you to figure out. But I'm just saying that's one possible scenario. This is only temporary. So just be open to what you've got to learn it and move on. Also be careful with your possessions, that you don't lose something. Take some care with your possessions and your physical body even. Second week of January, passionate Pisces. All right, let's have a look now and see what happens in the second half. And we've got the Knight of Wands. This is a good energy for you given these, because this is like slow and steady wins the race. You mightn't be able to get out of this situation of this here in the first 2 weeks. Maybe you can't get out of it immediately, but with this energy you can get out. Okay, see the tortoise there? He's sitting on a tortoise. So it may not happen overnight, but it will happen. And see, it's actually, I'm saying he, but it's actually a she. In the traditional decks, of course, it's a male energy, so it's denoted as a man, but in this deck it's a woman. But the baseball bat means that she is taking action. Knights are about getting out into the world, spreading their wild oats, adventure, excitement, get out there. Wands are very inspirational sort of energy, and because of the difficulties you may have been through recently, you will be able to help other people because you've lived it. Okay, it's very real to you. It's not just something that you've read in a textbook somewhere. You've lived it, so you can actually pass your experience on to other people and help them out. But this means you're definitely making progress, and you're doing it because you're feeling more motivated and inspired to do it. Okay, so now looking at the last 10 days of January, please, for passionate Pisces, and seeing what that one's a bit hot, and breakthrough time. Okay, so we've got the World here. So we've gone through this difficult scenario, and then little by little made some progress, and then we have some sort of breakthrough the end of the month because the World is at your feet. See here? She's got one foot on the world and the rest of her is in space. She is in touch, grounded in practical reality and also in spirit. She's adorned in gold, and this means, it doesn't mean flash clothes or labels or anything, or jewelry. It means, spiritually speaking, she is adorned with preciousness and value. There is an owl here at her left hand. I don't know if you can see that. An owl, maybe make out the wings. And that's all about wisdom and intuition, and spirit is guiding you. Here there is an angel holding up the fabric, another sign that spirit is there, adorning you in spiritual wealth. A scepter denoting royalty. The world is your oyster. You can decide, you have freedom of movement, you can decide where you go and what you do. So even though it's been certainly a bumpy ride to get to that point, just hold on to the fact that a spiritual breakthrough is possible and even likely. Sometimes it's confusing for people. They might get a spiritual breakdown, a spiritual breakthrough and a spiritual breakdown. They may get confused because the signs are very similar, and you may think you're crying all the time, and maybe it's hard to get out of bed, or you feel depressed, or it's hard to achieve, or get things done the way that you want to, and you think you're going through a breakdown. But in reality, it's a spiritual breakthrough, because it's like all of that stuff coming up to deal with out of your subconscious. And it's like it's been stuck down there because maybe at the time you couldn't deal with it because it wasn't safe, or you didn't have time, or you were too tired, or you had too many things, or children, or whatever the reason, that all that stuff gets pushed down into the body. Eventually it's going to sort of build up like a volcano, like in poor New Zealand what's happened, and then it gets played out in the physical world. We have a volcano in New Zealand. It's killed 17 people about 2 weeks ago, 16 Australians, and so the world is reflecting what is going on in us. So when these things start to come up, please let them come up in a safe and appropriate way. Write it all down in a journal. I can't stress how good that is to let stuff out. Okay, now I'll just close my eyes, passionate Pisces, and see there's a man here. He's like it's actually Mercury. It's the god Mercury. I see the wings on his helmet and on his ankles, and it's like quick, speedy changes in direction, speedy messages, things coming through communications. So please keep a lookout, because he will deliver messages to you. He's got gold wings on his helmet, and he's got gold wings on his ankles. So yeah, I just feel this sort of speediness, and it's a bit like this card here with the gold, the world card, okay, because that's the color gold I'm seeing, that exact that exact shade. Okay. So for passionate Pisces, I just want to encourage you, and Spirit is telling me how much they love you and how much they appreciate you, because they know that being a Piscean at this particular time in history is not easy. And it's like you feel things so much, and it's almost like you sort of signed a contract when you came here to do as much as you can to clear all of this energy out. They're showing me a coffin, which is like an Egyptian sarcophagus, and it's covered in jade and gold, and they want me to tell you that a lot of you have connections with Egypt, with ancient Egypt, and that you would have had a high position in Egypt at some point. Okay, so like a priest, priestess, scribe, some sort of ruler, maybe a king or queen, a high position, the nobility back in Egypt. So just run that past, your heart and see how you feel about that, whether that sits with you or not. And it's like brought over energy that you have to deal with, so that you can regain a higher vibrational energy and a higher status. Just run that past your heart to see if that feels right for you or not. Okay, thanks so much for listening, passionate Pisces. And as I said, a big month in a big year in a big decade. So, we're going to rock and roll. Put your seatbelts on because we'll be going really, really fast. Okay, thanks for listening. I want to wish you all a very beautiful month. If this has helped you, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell. Have a wonderful month, and bye for now. Thanks so much for watching. Please visit my website absolutesoulsecrets.com for all things spiritual.